We're the Copper River Watershed Project, and we focus on sustainable economic development for the Copper River region. This whole drainage, kind of roughly, this is the scope of it, and it's about the size of the state of West Virginia. We have the word watershed in our name because it's a geographic unit that we are trying to work within in terms of working with the communities and promote some broader understanding and a shared agenda towards promoting sustainable economic development in our region. And so the river drains down and cuts this big canyon through the Chugach Mountains and then drains out to the Gulf of Alaska. And we have the commercial fishery happening out here in the Gulf of Alaska, and we would have a lot less of a commercial fishery down here if we didn't have all this rich spawning habitat upriver. And for fisheries, we're looking at how do we help diversify the fishing industry? How do we educate people about the fact that it is a sustainably managed fishery? There's not a lot of bycatch. It's a very targeted fishery. And then also work with fishermen to work on forming allies to help protect habitat and help sustain their livelihood, help sustain the annual renewable resource that is the bedrock of their livelihood. One of the reasons we focus so much on habitat restoration for salmon, both in the Copper Basin and in Cordova, is that in our region, salmon is our currency and salmon equal dollars. Keeping that shoreline vegetation in place is so important for fish because, well, for one thing, the big thing is it prevents erosion and it provides shade. You know, if there's overhanging vegetation, it provides shade of the water in that shallow area, which is going to heat up faster than the deep water. Salmon fry and smolt use that nearshore area to hide from predators and to get food. That's kind of their nursery area. We've done a lot of work around tourism planning to try to promote small-scale independent traveler tourism. The small-scale groups really fit right into town, and you have a chance to spend more time with them and really show them what makes this place special and educate them about the region. So that's why we helped start the Copper River Wild Festival. And then we're also working on promoting understanding around the need for citizens' oversight for the Trans-Alaska Pipeline. And the big issue there is the fact that we have what some people call a river of salmon right next to a river of oil that comes down through our drainage. About 20% of the Trans-Alaska Pipeline travels through the Copper River watershed, and the pipeline itself crosses 5 tributaries to the Copper. What would happen if there were a spill where the pipeline crosses the Taslina River? It's about 5 miles north of where the Taslina drains into the Copper, and it would take oil 6 hours if there were a spill at this location to go 23 miles downstream. And we modeled that particular location because Alyeska said they could begin cleanup at this site in 6 hours. But by that point, oil is already into the main stem of the Copper River, and that's what we don't want to see happen. Pipeline, we try to emphasize we're not anti-pipeline and we're not anti-oil. We just really, really want to keep oil in the pipe. And that's the most important thing. And what we're trying really hard to do is say it's not a matter of people or fish. It's a matter of how do you develop in ways that protect the fish. Salmon are the basis of our economy, and so that's why it's so critical that we maintain salmon habitat and productive salmon habitat, because like I said earlier, it's a renewable resource. Those fish come back every year. And so the more productive we can maintain that habitat, the more productive our fisheries are going to be in terms of the economy and feeding locals and supporting our local families.